Good morning again. This is part 3 of assessing risk, and this is quite an important chapter. This is if the roosters don't cause too much noise while I'm explaining. What we're looking at now, when I'm assessing risk, I also assess what's going on with a correlated currency. So we've been trading gold, and we know that when you're trading gold, the correlation is with US dollar JPY. So while US dollar JPY last week it fell, we know that gold increased. And there's a very similar correlation with Great British Pound and JPY. If you look at US dollar JPY, it fell. And if you look at Great British Pound JPY, it also fell last week too. And it becomes more apparent if you compare them side by side. So side by side, and I'll just zoom out a bit, you can see a very similar pattern. So this is US dollar JPY, this is Great British Pound JPY. Similar, very, very long shadow here, exactly the same shadow there. You can see US dollar started falling here, so did Great British Pound. And then Great British Pound started climbing here, and so did US dollar. And then recently, you've seen that US dollar has started struggling, coming down, and so has Great British Pound. So what's been happening with gold? Gold's been rising. So while US dollar and Great British Pound has been coming down, gold's been going up. So this is another important factor that you need to see what's going on in another correlation currency. And I would say the most important to look at this current moment in time is US dollar JPY. And I'm going to explain this to you now, and hopefully it'll make perfect sense to you. If you remember November, when I did that bad trade, you had a very bearish candle come down here at the beginning of November, and it just stopped. Now when it stopped, you expect that because it closed below the 20, it was going to go either down to the Bollinger Band or it was going to go to the 50. But it didn't, it just stopped. Then in the end, I drew a trend line, and when it stopped, it became a support. The trend line became a support. So the question is, why did gold just stop there? Because we could have placed another short trade, and look what's happened, gold's gone up. So why did it stop? Let's look at US dollar JPY. It's because US dollar JPY was struggling to get over the 100 moving average. So you can see there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. So after them 4, 5 candles, gold started going up. What happened with US dollar? US dollar started going down. And it was a similar thing with Great British Pound. Now, Great British Pound was on a rally, so it was actually a little bit stronger than US dollar, so it did actually break through. But when US dollar started falling, so has Great British Pound. That started falling. It's because Japanese yuan and gold has started becoming stronger. So if you see Japanese yen and gold becoming weaker, you will see Great British Pound and US dollar getting stronger. Now, it also comes out very apparent if we just go to the 30-minute chart or at what happened this morning. Now, I sent you a video yesterday. It was all about the strike in Iran, US bombing a very famous general over there. And of course, there's been all these threats over the weekend. And what these threats cause is uncertainty in the market. And when there's uncertainty in the marketplace, the market comes out of riskier investments. So riskier investments are like stocks. So you've got the Dow Jones, and you've got the FTSE, the UK FTSE, you've got the S&P 500, you've got the NASDAQ 100. So they are kind of all the big blue chip stocks in the US and in England. And you'll see that what happened on Friday caused them to fall. So let's look at what happened this morning. So the news broke on Friday. We've had the weekend. Over the weekend, there's been threats going backwards and forwards. So let's look at US dollar JPY 30-minute chart. When the price closed on Friday, you can see there's higher highs. So you would expect the price to start going up to the 50. But instead, there's a massive gap and price ended up all the way down here. And it's because of the uncertainty that this strike caused on Friday. And the uncertainty is because is there a war breaking out? What's going to happen with the market? You know, some of it's cyber war, which could cause massive problems in America. There's all this uncertainty. Everyone's going into safe havens like Japanese yen and gold. So now we're seeing like a massive gap down. And you can see gold, there was a massive gap going up. Then you see a big shadow. So you see a big shadow, and this is when US dollar started to go up. Now US dollar started to go up, then gold started to come down. And when gold started to come down, it stopped here. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4 candles on a 30-minute chart, it stopped. So why did gold stop there? Why is it not going down any further? Go back to US dollar JPY. It's because gold struggled to get through the 50 moving average on the US dollar JPY. So you can see that US dollar did go through the 50 moving average, then it's rejected it. Then it's tried to go above again without a higher high, it's rejected it. Then all of a sudden the candles come all the way down. So when this candles come all the way down, what happens to gold? Gold starts to go up. And it's exactly the same on Great British Pound. If you look here, why did Great British Pound all of a sudden just stop there with a spike? It hasn't hit the 50. It hasn't hit the Bollinger Band. Look at US dollar JPY. It's because it's struggling to go through the 50. Now, you would think the 30-minute chart is a weaker chart. So I would kind of expect US dollar to eventually break through the 50 and go a bit higher. That's what I would expect. And if it does, then what you're going to see is gold will start coming back down again. So just to summarize this, when you're assessing risk, you cannot just look at the different charts. You cannot just look at gold US dollar as one single chart or Great British Pound JPY as one single chart. We've got to look at the correlation chart and maybe be looking at the US dollar JPY to see if there's any strong support or resistance that could cause price to get stuck on gold or if you're trading Great British Pound. And just to remind you again, on the weekly chart, price stopped here on the 100. So what happened to gold on the weekly chart? Price just stopped here, just in mid-air, just stopped and created a trend line. It was all because of what was going on with the US dollar JPY. Then look at this morning, 30-minute chart. US dollar starts to climb. You have a big shadow here. And it comes down to here. But then all of a sudden it just stops. Starts going up again. Why? Because on US dollar JPY, struggles to get above the 50 on a 30-minute chart, starts to go down. So that is just a quick video. Just another important factor when you are assessing risk is what's going on with the correlated currency that could have an effect on your trade. So that is it for now. I'm going to do a chapter 4. Have a happy Monday, a good morning, and look forward to catching you later. Bye for now.